Hello? Hello, hello, hello. He says, trying to move his microphone closer because he forgot to check where it was. Hello. Hello, Bear. Hello, Kira. Hello, Cheeb. Hello, delicious strawberry. I didn't know how to shorten that into a simpler name, so I'm just going to every time say a delicious strawberry. Hope you don't mind. It's satisfying to say. How are we all doing? We all good? On this either Wednesday evening or Thursday morning, depending on your time zone, or Wednesday afternoon. Time. You're a special, Get the music playing in the background. How is Wednesday and or Thursday treating people? Currently fighting one of the final bosses in FF9 again. Really wish they stopped doing 3 flare stars in a row before you can get a turn off. Yeah, I had to think about what's left in this draw through. We might be able to get it done in 2 streams, maybe 3. But I think I counted, including optional bosses that I might draw just for fun. I think there are 13 bosses left. In 2 streams. There are so many bosses at the end of this game. Also sleep. We got cold, one today. We got cold, one today. Hey, what? Who? One? Who? It's far too many bosses, a lot of bosses. So, yeah. Let's get cracking with them. Let's hop on over to... Yeah? Doodle scene, we don't need to know what the music's playing, because it's my stuff. Yeet. So as a quick recap, what happened last time. We, having got the 4 weird MacGuffins, learning that you're bad at Blasphemous the hard way. I want to play Blasphemous, it looks good. I also have a personal appreciation for when caps lock works the wrong way. If you consider not having that many bosses, basically they made all the bosses and then thought, well, we've made them, so we've got to put them somewhere. Including why I'm going to give you guys the choice of what the final boss is. Because there's the final boss, but there's also another boss which was supposed to be the final boss right up until the end of development, and they swapped it out for something else. So you can choose which. It really doesn't matter, I assure you. But we'll get to that. For now, yes, we got the 4 MacGuffin mirrors of the What's-It, and we realised that we need to put them in 4 places on the planet. So we go to 4 different shrines. We split up into groups of 2, with the newly behaircutted Princess Zolda Knife. Zolda Knife, that's the one. What's our goal? Excellent question. Something, Mr. Swan, something. To be fair, we get a reasonably decent goal at the end of last stream. Well, not the end of last stream, but kind of at the end of last stream. Yeah, I hope that was clear. So yes, the Betty, little 6-year-old summoner, and Princess Zolda Knife, Queencess Zolda Knife, go to what is the Water Shrine and use their thing. We have James and Vivi go to the Wind Shrine and use their thing. We're flying around the planet doing all this. We have Nox and Tondon Dingle go and use theirs in the Fire one. And obviously, a weirdly proportioned Simeon and Quimbsh. It's not my finest drawing. Go to the Earth Shrine. You can tell it's Earth because it's shaking. Therein, they fight a big old Skellybob, who is the guardian of the Earth Shrine, and Quimbsh obviously eats it whole, which is always your finest work. Is Mr. Swan still the goal? Because the colliding of the worlds or whatever seems more important, but also, how do you stop that? These are excellent questions. I hope you're looking forward to them not being answered. But anyway, we do that, and we all respectively beat our guardians of the shrines, even though we don't actually beat them. This is the only one we actually physically beat in the game. Whatever. It then opens up a big old portal in the middle of some glaciers somewhere. And we decide that the best course of action here is to just jump into it from the airship. Just head first, straight in. What's the worst that could happen? We then wake up on a different planet called Terra, where we are greeted by Goldo, who we briefly saw earlier in thwarting Mr. Swan's plans. Yeah, that idiotic action. You'll be saying that a decent amount for the rest of the game. Yeah, we're still dealing with Goldo right now. Goldo's here. He says something ominous and then buggers off. There's something about, like, welcome home and all that sort of stuff. Also, there's a Jedi there. They're just hanging out. So we explore this and we come across, well, first of all, we come across the big eye in the sky, which is the Princess Zoldaneif recalls as being the thing that destroyed the summoning village when she was small. And it also appeared above Alexandria when that whole deal happened. So that's the thing, and it's here. Good to know. She fainted in the response to that. That's not really relevant to the story. But we find nearby a village called Bran Bal, which is populated entirely by people who look very, very similar to Simeon. What with the tails and the hair and everything else. And we discover that these people are, I believe we just called them gnomes. They are gnomes, empty husks of people who do not have an identity, a personality, a soul of their own, and who have been manufactured for the purpose of receiving souls of the quiet frickin' frack, for the purpose of receiving the long sleeping dormant souls of the people of Terra prior to their planet kind of dying. They've gone into hibernation. They're going to need some bodies soon to go into, so that's what these guys are. And they make no real bones about the fact that they just don't want to talk to anybody except Simeon, because Simeon, it turns out, is also a gnome, and he's from this place, and he didn't know that. Never quiet, frickin' frack. You're dead. You died like 3 streams ago. Also, Quimbsh tries to eat their crystal. They don't seem bothered by this. Oh, and Muffin's here. He's there. He's doing good. After a while, Simeon goes and has a chat with Goldo, and you can see it went very well. So why not throw something completely new into the game? Yeah. And we learned a bunch of things. We learned that Mr. Swan is also a gnome. Mr. Swan was the original gnome sent down to Gaia, which is the planet that we were from. And his purpose was to sow discord for the purpose of basically accelerating the process of death. Because the way planets work is that there's this sort of centralized life energy based around the souls of the inhabitants and the animals and all these sorts of things. The OG gnome! Miss, coming in here with the snappy puns straight away. How you doing? Yeah, so planets have this system of, like, you die, your soul is returned to the planet, and then it eventually gets reborn as something else. But tish indeed. And Terra is a dying planet, and they want to basically take over another planet so that they can live on it. And the way they're doing that is they set up this weird, multi-dimensional filtration system, which in the physical world looks like a big tree, which looks itself also like a cauliflower. Which has been filtering out the souls of Gaia and replacing them with the souls for Terra, so that slowly over time, the planet will sort of spiritually turn into Terra, and then the gnomes will get those souls, and then they'll take over the planet. So massive, like, basically very, very slow invasion happening via drilling out the souls that are there. Exhausted, thank you. Hope you're doing well. No, not exhausted. Have chill. Get nice drinks. Forgot about the dumb tree. The dumb tree is pivotal to the last big portion of this game, and I completely forgot about it too. So the multi-dimensional cauliflower tree. And Simeon's like, well, that's fine, because we stopped that. We stopped the mist and all that sort of stuff. And then Goldo explains that, the mist is just the sort of the byproduct of the souls of Gaia, which didn't have anywhere else to go because we were getting rid of them for the whole filtration system. And you just killed, like, the thing that was looking after the tree. The tree is a multi-dimensional thing. You can't really destroy it in the physical world. Metaphysics. It's great. It's that image of Oops flipping off tree here. Hang on. Where is it? I have it. I always have it on hand. if you pardon the expression. There it is. There we go. Classic. Our second tree villain in streams. We could do a draw through a Final Fantasy V and have another one. It really comes in so handy, yes. For people who are not familiar, this picture was from our playthrough of Ori in the Blind Forest, in which a tree is... we didn't take kindly to it. Put it that way. Yeah. So anyway, this very slow cuckoo invasion of this planet is happening. Yeah, that tree in particular. Not trees in general, it's that one. So that's happening, and that's been happening for like 1,000 years? I don't know. I don't know if there's any specified number, but it's quite a while it's been going on. And Goldo was made, I think, pretty sure I mentioned that he was like manufactured. Because bloody everybody in this story is apparently manufactured. For the purposes of overseeing this process, make sure it happens. And he tried to accelerate the process by giving a soul to a gnome called Mr. Swan and sending them down to the planet to try and stir up unrest, cause wars and so on and so forth. And he did. To be fair, quite successfully over the course of the first half of the story. But it then transpired, yeah, who's even real? Yeah, Mr. Swan finally got things going. However, he also kind of developed a personality of his own and a desire for his own personal power, and that's an issue. So, but he always kind of suspected that'll be an issue, so he got another gnome ready about 10 years later, sent it down, and I think it was supposed to be like under the tutelage of Mr. Swan, but Mr. Swan was just like, screw that, chucked it away. And that became Simeon. No knowledge of his past or what he was supposed to do, but Simeon's original purpose in manufacture was to go to the planet and, cause unrest, become genocidal maniac a la Mr. Swan. Such a bad plan. It's not great, is it? I should also probably mention at this point that I think in the early... Oh, fun fact I learned about Final Fantasy IX like 2 days ago. Originally, it was going to be called Final Fantasy Gaiden. Originally, it was like a sort of origin sort of thing, before it became its own sort of mainline Final Fantasy game. Fun little fact. And this guy, Goldo, is based on a villain from the first Final Fantasy of the same name. Gaiden, yeah, G-A-I-D-E-N. We were recently talking about that word, of what it meant. And I think it means origins or something like that. But yeah, anyway. What was I saying? Yeah, Mr. Swan, the Simeon sent down to Earth, blah, 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 blah. What else was said? Probably some important stuff. It'll come up as time goes on. So his name again in a recent playthrough, you went, wait a second, that's the guy from FF1. Yeah, exactly. I can't remember FF1 too clearly. I remember he's at the beginning, but I don't know if he comes back. Probably. Yes, so anyway, he's having this discussion, and Simeon's like, well, I'm not going to go back to the planet and become the Angel of Death. I'm me. I have learned to be myself and have my own personality and goals and desires in life, so screw you. And Goldo says, well, that's fine. I'll just steal your soul. I gave it to you. I'm going to take it back. And then Simeon collapses. We then have like a weird sort of dream sequence of Simeon having an existential crisis, and not knowing who he is anymore, and blah, 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 blah. And then we have this long tapestry thing of him sort of being out of it and not really knowing who he is, and all of his friends going, come on, Simeon, we can do it, let's go together, and him being like, no, bugger off, I don't know who I am anymore. And they help him through fights, and he's like brushing them off as he goes, and etc, etc. But then eventually, he comes along with Princess Zeralda, who gives him a very like limp speech about. I quoted it verbatim during the last stream because I was quite surprised at how. Yeah, just limp is the best word I can describe to given. This concept has been done before, this idea of like, we can, you know, through friendship, we can, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it just doesn't really work here. But then Quimbsh comes along and says, hey, I've got to make you nice food. I've got to make you frogs. And then he snaps out of it. So Quimbsh saves the day, as always. Dumbest part of the plan was to give the gnome supposed to replace the genocidal maniac to the genocidal maniac who developed a personality which you did not want. Yeah. By the way, they didn't do that to Swan. Loki, like, like Swan. Yeah. It's cookie cutter friendship is magic speech. Yeah, it's the thing. But Quimbsh saves the day, and Simeon's back to normal, and this whole affair is basically forgotten. And so now our objective, if you want to know what our objective is to try and stop Goldo from doing the thing where he's going to basically destroy or like replace all life on Terra. Oh, sorry, all life on Gaia with the life on Terra sort of situation. Yeah. So we're going to go do that. Ever since we met Goldo, I'm on Swan's side. Nice. So let's do this. What basically follows is a series. It's just a dungeon. You go through a dungeon, you solve puzzles. It all looks very HR geegery. But then eventually we find Goldo again. And cut straight back to Goldo. Don't know what Swan's plan is, but it can't be worse. Question mark. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure what Swan's plan is either. This will only get more confusing as this stream goes on. And another boss down, and another boss down. Another one bites the dust. We'll get to that. So yeah, Goldo's here. We have another speech of Goldo saying, you know, this is what you were made for, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, they're like, no, I've learned friendship, etc. It's actually better written than that, but not by an enormous amount. Again, I am rather, by virtue of my poor memory, I am underselling the quality of the script in this game, because it's not bad. The characters certainly feel more like rounded characters than some previous games. It's certainly way better than the translation of Final Fantasy VII, but that's a translation issue, not a script issue. Because the guy was given a week to translate every piece of text in the game. Frankly, I'm amazed anyone understood it. Not necessarily a hero arc, just some sort of main character moments. Considering the genocidal maniac thing was apparently him doing stuff for Goldo, don't even know what Swan's goal is right now. Maybe he just wants some hot chocolate. Maybe. Might do. I think he's just in the mode of, like, power seems good. I like having power. Power's nice. That's a good generic goal for a villain. But I guess we'll kind of, yeah, I guess in a bit we'll learn sort of what his goal was. Kind of. Ish. We'll see. Anyway, I don't know, well, I guess I do know why I'm drawing Goldo, because, spoiler alert, I have to draw every boss in this game. Yeah, there's no foreshadowing. This whole section was just like, chuck it together, get it out the door. We have to release a game at the end of the year. Go. It's a hobby, exactly. Sometimes your hobby is, you know, crochet or macrame or you know, toy trains, that sort of thing, train sets. Bird watching, maybe. Spot of train spotting, perhaps. Maybe a sport, maybe something like hockey, or you know, kidnapping the souls of giant monsters for the purposes of accruing power to lord it over a planet that isn't yours. What was that quote? I don't remember that. Was it just a message on the floor that said pickle? I guess so. Why am I drawing this? Well, I've just explained. Why am I redrawing it? That's the question. Yeah, there's a cape. Got a swishy cape. Now you want to watch the one Dutch train crossing live stream again? Yeah, we randomly stumbled upon a live stream of somebody just filming a train crossing in the Netherlands, and it was weirdly captivating. I was originally going to do him as like a kind of come here kind of thing of like join me, but it just turned into the usual shrug that whenever I draw a character, that's what they do. So nice, and you mentioned train spotting. Yeah, we refused naturally, and so the response is, well, that's all right. I've already got a replacement for you lined up, so let's kill you. And he sends a dragon after you. Which, he doesn't send a dragon after you, it just appears in a boss fight. This is going to be a recurring thing. We're rushing this part of the game out. Just start a boss fight with a thing that didn't appear in a cutscene. Actually, I believe we made these dragons geese, didn't we? So we're going to have to continue that theme. I said this would come back. It is called a dragon, so I guess it does have 6 limbs. 2 wings, 4 legs. Honk honk. I can't remember what dragon this is. Is it a silver dragon? It looks very much like the dragon that Mr. Swan was riding earlier in the story, because I guess there are dragons on this planet. Guess that's a thing. But anyway, yes, boss 1 of the boss rush. Of the 13 boss rush. is the silver goose dragon. And it is an unremarkable fight in as much as it's just a dragon and you hit it like you do every other boss. It's not a trivial fight, I don't recall, but again, I've sort of slightly under the... made a slightly bad decision in that I decided that my replay should be with a randomizer, so the difficulty of everything is slightly skewed. A downy dragon. So this is where all the Phoenix Downs come from. It's not actually Phoenices, as I'm going to say is the plural of Phoenix. It makes sense. I don't think I'm drawing it. No, that made no difference. Cool, cool. Good. I wasn't making a mistake. It just looks like this. Yeah, I'm not going to get precious about this because, spoiler alert, this isn't the last one I'm going to draw. Don't get relevant with the quotes. How dare you? Now my chat disconnected. You see what you've done? So anyway, he summons the dragon, we fight the dragon, we beat the dragon. It's an RPG, that's how these things work. He then goes, well, if you want a job done properly, you might as well do it yourself. So then we fight Goldo, boss number 2. Might as well keep track of these. Boss number 1, boss number 2. So we actually get around to fighting this guy. Hurrah, good. Genocidal, not even genocidal, like this is beyond genocide, this is like planet-side. Oh yeah, we're also doing this, and this is going to be relevant. This is all happening on one of those weird mushroom platforms that this world seems to be made up of. Like they're on that one, and we're on one over here, and there's like mushrooms everywhere. They're not actually mushrooms. I think these are the things that the souls are living in, like hibernation, something like that. Oh, and there's a crystal in the background. Not entirely certain it's relevant, but you know, the crystal will become relevant. I'm not sure this is the one, or if it's. There's just another crystal. There's just crystals. Crystals are a thing. Soul machines. Yeah, these are back-to-back fights. We've got to. We're not going to have 13 back-to-back fights, but we are going to have a bundle of back-to-back fights now, and then a bundle of back-to-back fights later. So, with a bit of an interval for some bits and bobs, and then a big old epilogue. Love for my soul to sleep in a mushroom. It sounds so much more cozy than it actually is. Again, these are HR Giga sci-fi mushrooms. Not like, you know, as the kids would say these days, cottage core. New project, Terra redesign cottage core style. It'll just end up looking like the Mushroom Kingdom in Mario, but anyway. So yes, we fight them two as bosses. And we don't kill Goldo, which is unsurprising because he's probably quite powerful, but we do kind of defeat him into being sort of like, you know, a bit tired. We beat the dragon. Dragon's gone. That's fine. There's plenty where that came from. No, I should probably actually draw you. So yeah, this Goldo chap, things not quite working out the way he intended. All because he tried to be lazy. He could have just waited. He set the plan in motion. It was working. The fool. But anyway, yeah, we sort of, we knock him into submission. Because I guess we don't really have a plan for how to actually, you know, deal with the situation as is. That's fine. But we get him to a weakened state. And he's on the floor, and we say, "Oh, why don't you give up, Goldo?" And he's like, "I was literally made to do one thing. I'm not giving up on that." And then, gosh, you wouldn't believe this part of the story. It's never happened before. A big old eye appears in the sky. Did you screw that? I'll just copy it. There it is. So yeah, a big old eye appears in the sky. Although I don't think it's really an eye at this point, it's just a red orb. So we'll get rid of that. I'm not sure it ever was an eye. I think it's partly just child mind of Zorolda Knife interpreted it as an eye. But anyway, big old orb appears in the sky. This time controlled by Mr. Swan. Ball? Yes, ball. And Mr. Swan basically stands in like the... Well, hang on. Where was the... I'm going to have to go back for this, aren't I? Oh, how long ago was this? This was like beginning of disc 3. After that. Hey, Quimp Jaden. Just after that. Quimp. This was all the Trino shenanigans. There's the card game. Around here? Yeah, that was that whole thing. Here we go, there's Goldo. So if you remember several months ago. Did you miss Pink Sparkle Monkey? No. Patience. A very, very brief patience. But yes, Mr. Swan's on here, and he's looking down. Because this is indeed the deck of the airship that this eye is on the bottom of. We actually saw a thing of this airship in the ruins, the Trongle ruins, or whatever it was called. A little hologram of it, as I recall. He's looking down and going, "Oh, Goldo, you bloody idiot." I've stolen the airship, I've stolen your powers, I've done it all without you even paying attention to me because you got distracted by that other monkey. Absolute buffoon. Yeah, that's the issue with the style, is everybody does look occasionally cross-eyed. It's fine. You can't look... In this style, you can't simultaneously look down and have your eyes half closed. Yeah, and he's just sort of gloating like, "Oh, this was way easier than I thought. I didn't even have to fight you. They did it all for me. I didn't even have to work out how to get here. They unlocked the seal. Bloody idiots. I did nothing, and I'm the winner here." And then he beams down. He ain't wrong. He's not wrong. So yeah, he uses the absorbing powers of the Invincible, which is the name of the ship, the big eye thing in the sky, to absorb Goldo's powers when he's weak, basically. So now this guy doesn't have anything. Mr. Swan wins, yay! He basically does. Because he is now in control of the Invincible, he now has control over the souls on Terra, because it's just Cheap, don't post the thing. Cheap's posted the trains. No, everyone, come back. I'm more interesting than trains, I promise. That's not a guarantee. Whoops. Good for him. I'm sure this will only end badly, but you support him. I keep trying to do structure and then realizing that I'm doing structure for the wrong style. And so yeah, it turns out his goal was basically just to take all of the power of everyone, including people on Terra. And he did. He's got control over everything. I still can't really remember what his hair looks like, only that it's slightly swishier than Simeon's. It's also silver. I don't think I've ever mentioned that. But it's the feather in the hair that should be the indicator as to who this is. And have a comfy night of train watching. Guess now we're gonna have like a... You can see his tail. He's got a tail, everyone. Shoes. Simple drawing, I've got loads of bosses to do. Well done, golf club. What is a squid but a flesh umbrella? Fantastic question, Ibs. Yeah, that's how balance works, right? It's fine. Speaking of bosses, you're thinking now on the second to last boss fight, technically. Right, cool. Speaking of which, is something like that. I'm trying to work out the order of events here. I literally played this like a week ago. Less than a week ago, actually, wasn't it? Anyway, so. What is the order of events? There are 3 things that happen here, and I'm trying to remember what order they happen in. I think, yeah, necessarily. Okay, here's how I'm gonna do it. He has absorbed the power of Goldo, right? And so he's got a lot of power going through. Actually, do you know what? I'm gonna try and fit this into the narrative we've had so far. I don't know if this is what the game does, but I think this is what the game should do. So he's got a lot of power. He's like, well, very powerful, lording it over Goldo. And Goldo's like, well, you're never gonna win, you fool, whatever. And Mr. Swan's like, watch me. And then he just kicks him off the side of the thing. Ah! There he goes, off the side of the thing. And Mr. Swan's like, well, that was easy. And then he turns around to our party, who are like, you know, rather worse for wear after the fight with Goldo and his dragon. Good strong legs, yeah. He likes to show them off. But yeah, he turns around to us and he goes, right, well, thank you so very, very much. We're over here somewhere. I'm not going to draw us because we don't matter. At this point of the story, we just don't. But yeah, so he turns to us. And, you know, gives his, you know, flaunting poetic prose of, you know, how can I show my appreciation, my love for you, for what you've done for me? Eternal torture, perhaps? My undivided attention for eternity as I torture you to death. All that kind of stuff, you know? However, it's as he's lording it over us, because he's got the power of everything that was in the Invincible, all of the Eidolons, the summons, all that sort of stuff. He's got Goldo's power, he's got the power he had before, everything. It's this big old powerful thing. But as this happens, we hear a ghostly voice echoing. And it's the voice of Goldo, who is maybe dead? Probably. I'm going to say he probably is, but also what counts as dead on this planet? I don't know. What counts as alive, frankly. But we hear the echoing voice of Goldo basically saying to Mr. Swan, you won't win, you know. And Mr. Swan going, I've already won.
We're Molly and Molly.
So Goldo and Goldo, yeah, they say to Mr. Swan, you're never going to win, so on and so forth. And Mr. Swan's like, of course I've won, I have all the power and I can do whatever I want for eternity. And Goldo's like, you honestly think I would let you live forever? You honestly think I would give you a soul and give you as much responsibility as I did and not make you mortal? And this is the first time Mr. Swan has considered the fact that actually he might have a limited lifespan. Because I guess all the other gnomes are theoretically immortal because of the whole soul swapping thing. But no, he was deliberately designed to have a very limited lifespan, and according to Goldo, there's not much left. So we could have just waited, really, and the problem would have solved itself. But, you know, games and all that. Mr. Swan was under the impression that he would just be, he's just immortal. He's got all the power, all the time, he can do whatever he wants. But no. So Mr. Swan is now faced with his own mortality. And he's like, yeah, that's a funny joke. Funny joke you just said there. Because you wouldn't actually do that, would you? You wouldn't actually. Yeah, way to cut the tension, Gold. Yeah, he's like, yeah, you're not gonna trick me that easily, Goldo. You just wanna have the last laugh, don't you? And then there's silence. And Mr. Swan's just left like, right. The power of existential crisis strikes again. Yes, existentialism is the villain to all in this story. And then Mr. Swan has a bit of a think, and he goes, okay. Well, I'm gonna die. if that's the case, why should anyone else live beyond me? Seems reasonable. If I have to die, why does anyone else get life? Let's burn it all down. And through the power and the strength of existential crisis, he does something which I haven't really mentioned for a while. He goes floating up in the air like that. Oh yeah, it's not going to work, is it? Delete that. Like this. Yeah. And then big old rays of light and kashwooms and things like this. Again, I'm not entirely sure this is the order it happens in the story, but this does make sense. We put Goldo in charge of anything. Arson, yes. God, I've got to remember what this looks like now. But yes, he does something that we have seen before, which is that when people have intense periods of emotion, they can acquire the power of trance, and they turn into some sort of weird pink version of themselves. Yeah, and he does that because he's a bit emotional right now. The Thing, yes. Do you remember that thing I mentioned ages ago that isn't really relevant to the plot, but that is relevant to the mechanics of the fighting in the game, but doesn't actually come up in the story at all until literally right now? So yeah, he turns into a big old pink and red floating Super Saiyan monkey. Presumably also naked, so I'm going to put some sort of fluff there. Well, Sparkle Monkey. So he's now in his like heightened, emotional, powerful form. And this is the next fight. Fight number 3. Trance Swan. I think it was 2 ends, wasn't it? And he's got some very powerful magic. And he's not afraid to use it. And this is one of those fights this is like the culmination fight of this particular part of the thing. So we've had a little boss rush, and this is the end of it because this fight is unwinnable. But it's not one of those ones where like you just have to fight until you die. It's one of those ones where it's like after a while he just goes, yeah, we're done with this, and then casts Ultima, which is the series' favorite, most powerful move ever. Which I don't believe is something you can get in this game. He needs a hug. We'll get to that. Another unwinnable fight. To be fair, are there many unwinnable fights in this game? The cage is earlier, I guess. Right at the beginning. And a tickle. So in the final act of the game, another unwinnable fight. Yeah. We'll get to that as well. So yeah, he's doing his thing, and then he casts Ultima. And basically, Ultima in this game, it takes different forms in different games. And a box of Maltesers. Now, I'm going to give him a big old floofy feathery tail. His feather motif comes out here. It's nothing, you know, this is no Sephiroth one-winged angel thing. It's not incredibly bombastic a transformation, but it is, you know, definitely visually different. But he's still quite clearly Mr. Swan. Just in his Super Saiyan monkey form. This game was the first time you encountered an unwinnable fight in a video game. This feels so final, you have to keep reminding yourself that it's not. Yeah, again, this is boss number 3 of possibly 13. It could end here, frankly. If I think about it, this could end here. We could stop right now and cut to the end credits. Actually, we could just cut out the last portion of the game and then cut to the epilogue. It would still make sense. Is there anything between now and the epilogue that's essential to the epilogue? There's a question. I don't think there is. Don't get what else there is supposed to happen. I mean, happen's a strong word, but you'll see the extent to which it really doesn't matter. But rules is rules. If there's a boss, I've got to draw it, and there's 10 more to do. So yeah, he does his whole trance thing, and he casts Ultima and his sort of ultimate blur thing. And not only, it basically, you know, like magic missile or something like that, the sort of shot of a kind of pew sort of thing. He does basically a billion of those. A bunch of them head towards us and knock us out, or like reduce us down to sort of feeble wrecks or whatever. But a bunch of them just fire off into the background and just destroy all of these mushrooms. He ain't having any of it. So he's just blowing this whole place up. Pandemonium is in a state of pandemonium. And whatever souls may have been living there before ain't no more. So yeah, Goldo really kind of messed this one up, didn't he? So yeah, he's just blowing the whole place up. Now, while Final Fantasy IX, it's all Goldo's fault. That, yeah, accurate. Pretty much. Apart from the kind of short-term stuff, which is all Simeon's fault. Or no, it's no, actually, to be fair, all the short-term stuff is Butterknife's fault. But Zoldaknife. Zerolda, Butterknife, Zoldaknife, etc., etc. She has many names. And many haircuts. But yeah, so he's destroying all this place. While he's busy going on a bit of a rampage and just destroying everything here, we take the opportunity to leg it, because he's a bit distracted by all of this. So we decide to run away. And I guess he's also too distracted to have remembered that he had an airship. And it's just kind of sitting outside of Brandball. FF9, the people that were put in charge should not be in charge. That's your conclusion. I mean, it's a perfectly reasonable lesson in life, I think. Tantrum monkeys he's having a big old tantrum right now. Destroy. So yeah, he's doing his thing. But while he's doing that, we run away and we discover that his airship, the big old eye in the sky, has been parked by Bramble. And that, in fact, there are actually 2 ways on the ship, including a teleporter. We discover that there's a teleporter because we get on the hard way, and then we walk into the middle of it, and Quimbsh just appears. And Quimbsh is like, hey, there's a teleporter. And I was like, well, how did you find that out? Again, Quimbsh, helping us out with the story. But yeah, so we just discover that there's this airship here now. Great, cool, we can nick it. He nicked it, we'll nick it. He clearly doesn't need it anymore because he's got all the power in him. But before we do that, Simeon, that was from earlier in the story. Simeon thinks, no, we're not running away, because there's a whole bunch of people in Branbal who are just going to get exploded if we leave them behind. So they go back. I'm not gonna draw this because it just sort of happens. Well, I'll start drawing the next thing. Actually, hang on. While I'm saying this, I will find a picture of a place that I can use to draw the next thing. But yeah, Simeon wants to go and basically rescue. Oh no, there is something here I should probably draw. Or steal from the last stream and then just put dialogue over it. Branbal, all the monkey people. Here we go. So yeah, Simeon comes in and he's like, we gotta go, everything's getting destroyed. If you don't come with me, you're all gonna die. And they drag everyone onto the thing. And the only one who sort of objects, because why would any of these object? They don't really have any opinions of their own. Is this one. This one here. The one who we already have an arrow pointing towards. Muffin also gets on because Muffin's sensible. Good job, Muffin. Yeah, but this one's reluctant. Because this one, it turns out, I think we already kind of learned this before, has a soul. They're sort of... I think what they told us originally was that they were sort of looking after the rest of the gnomes. But as it transpires... they were, as Goldo said, there was gonna be a replacement for Simeon in the same way that Simeon was supposed to be a replacement for Mr. Swan. This is Simeon's replacement. That was the idea. Limited lifespan, just keep chucking him out. So this one has a soul, and as a consequence, they also have a name. So for the last time, do you guys want to name a character? This character doesn't seem to care too much that they do have a name, but Simeon is very insistent that they have their name. Accurate conclusion, yeah. Sounds like a them problem. Just party wiped and you're tired, so you're done for now. Oh dear. Like I say, I had a slight advantage in that I had my randomizer, so the bosses, the end game bosses, were generally easier because they had different moves. Simeon. Yes, you have your own identity. You have your own name. You should embrace your individuality. What's your name? Simeon. Sure. We'll find out Mr. Swan's first name is Simeo. Goldo didn't have much imagination, it transpires. But anyway, like after a while, it takes him a while to sort of convince Simeon to get onto the airship and to fly out of here. I don't really know how how is the port? Is there still a portal? I don't know how we leave a planet, but we do. Yeah, the idea is we get all of the gnomes onto the ship. And we fly out of the exploding terror, and basically by the time we leave, there is pretty much nothing left of terror. It has just been all exploded. I'm increasingly discovering I do not know how thumbs work. He thinks some studies are in order. Sim MN Swan, Simeon MN Slut, and Simeon MN something. That is not a placeholder, that is their name. So, Simeon comes along for the ride. And as soon as we visited this planet and discovered that it exists, it is now no more. We cut back to a familiar location, he says, sifting through his folders to try and find where it is. None of these layers are named. Is it layer 131? No. It is before 131. Is it layer 124? No, it's after layer 124. 127? Good enough. So we now cut back to Gaia. And to the Black Mage Village, where the Black Mages have returned, having previously worked a little bit for Mr. Swan, but realised that wasn't a good idea. And what we see is that basically everybody has taken the gnomes and had them go and live with the Black Mages, because they're in quite a similar predicament of having been manufactured without any particular identity, but eventually developing their own personalities. And the Black Mages have a bit of a head start on that, so... So the Black Mages are sort of teaching them about stuff like cats and running water and fish. No, I like that. Party wiped because there's apparently a status effect that makes you miss if you try to do restorative items. And apparently stays with the character when it's KO'd, because that's happened to half your party and you can do nothing to revive them or heal them with the status effect. And the other two party members are not healers, so they perished eventually too. That's zombie, I guess. So yeah, we've met these two themes up of, you know, the Black Mages trying to find their identities and, you know, living their lives by themselves, and the gnomes now, you know, without external souls to be transplanted into, trying to find their own identities, etc., etc. So you got this sort of happy little relationship between the two, and you get some silly scenes, like. This is absolutely the music that should be playing during this lull between storms. Oh, there was something I probably should have mentioned before we got here, but I'll mention that in a second. We'll pretend it happened while we were here. Again, it doesn't really matter. They're still working out personality. None of that fun expression. You're still a gnome. Yeah, you get a fun little scene of them trying to work out what's going on with Bob. Bob, the little baby chocobo. And then saying, "Is it a monster? Is it gonna try and kill us?" I'm saying, "No. I mean, it might nip you. This is a feisty little one." And then it chases one of them around. Do not know what birds look like when they're running. It's fine. Yeah, so we've sort of worked out a nice little compromise, which is also good for the Black Mages as well, because the Black Mages ran away from people. Specifically, it was the people who were making them do the fighting, the people they were fighting against, and all that sort of stuff, and they're like, we're trying to hide here away from people. We don't want to do anything to do with people. We want our peaceful life alone. Thank you very much. And so by having the gnomes here, who are very like non-hostile people who don't really know anything, they're basically kids. They can sort of get acclimatized to people a little bit more. They can sort of coexist with something that looks like a person, modulo tail. Yeah, so it's kind of a nice little balance going on here. And we kind of get them set up and so on and so forth. However, while we're here, something interesting happens. And that interesting thing, which I'm not going to bother drawing because I'm not entirely sure how I would draw it, is that, do you remember when we went and we fought a tree? And the tree was producing mist because it was the byproduct of the soul filtration system. And then when we killed the tree, or we killed the thing in the tree, we didn't beat the tree is a multi-dimensional something or other. Yeah, the cauliflower tree. And we went in there and we killed the thing in it, and the mist stopped being produced. Because the thing wasn't there to produce it anymore. Anyway, turns out the entire planet is now covered in mist, just like thick fog. The whole thing, not just the continent that we were on at the beginning, the entire thing is bloody everywhere. So clearly, something's up with that tree. We were told that we didn't actually beat it, so it sort of makes sense. There was a bit of a backlog. And now it's just gone, I guess. The dumb tree, yes, exactly. So the entire planet is now covered in it. Tree farted, thick fog. Oops, hit the microphone's down. I'm gesticulating as I say all this. And yeah, has anyone tried turning the tree off and on again? We sort of did, but it made things worse. But clearly we observe that the problem ain't over. You know, Mr. Swan's destroyed one planet, he may very well come for a second, and now the tree's messing up again. So, still got problems. Yeah, we tried and made it worse. Okay, we got rid of Goldo, that's something. We didn't know he was a threat until recently, but turns out he was the biggest threat through his incompetence. Yeah, mist is everywhere. So yeah. Not just on one continent. So I mean, good thing for the Black Mages, because they were made of mist, so that's not the end of their species, I guess. Hooray. But yeah, anyway. So we talk about this and we're like, right, we need to go back to the tree, we need to see what's going on. And Princess Zorlorld is like, yeah, I'm coming along, I'm still on this whole thing, but everyone's probably going to be in a state of panic right now. Like, the whole world has just been plunged in thick, like, mist and fog and all this sort of stuff. Everyone's probably freaking out, and everyone's probably going to want to sort of rush to do stuff. We don't really know what's going on, but we know more than what's going on than anyone else. And I can't really remember what her reasoning is for this, but she basically says, can we not, like, tell anyone what we're going to do? Can we, like, let's not go to Lindblom and tell Queen Girl Boss what's happening. Because, don't want them to panic or get involved or something. I don't know. Basically, she wants to do this alone. She wants to do this just our little group, which is a nightmare to navigate if you're not already entirely sure where each location is in the game. Mumble, mumble. Yes, that's fair. But yeah, she basically says, yeah, let's do this ourselves. Let's not, let's not get anyone else involved in this. Cause miscommunication plot, exactly. Simeon, for some reason, thinks this is a good idea. Hey, that's dumb. Don't worry. It's gonna... The purpose of this line of dialogue will last one more drawing. Well, two, probably, but it's fine. I don't really want to draw whole characters, because we got a lot to get through, and none of it matters. Well, not none of it matters, but like none of what the characters are doing in any given scene matters too much. So let's do what we did at the end of the Forest of Doom. Should have turned them into bowling pins. Great-eyed. It's not too late to make the meeples, exactly, right. This is a callback to the Final Fantasy VIII Drawthrough. Bowling pin trio. But yes, we do this, and Simeon comes up because she's here, and she's like, I don't know why you're doing this. And he's like, you'll learn. I'll teach you. I'll come back. Let you know all about life and friends and family and all that cool stuff. It's neat. You're my sister now. And this is going to be great. We're going to have great times. He's like, well, but you were made to destroy this planet. He's like, I don't care what I was made to do. That doesn't matter. Something, friendship, something, personal goals, but something, fate not dictating decisions, free will, actions, etc. And she doesn't get that. She doesn't quite understand. You miss them, you don't. That's fair. I missed the innocence at the beginning of that draw-through. We had the non-binarity. We had the bowling pin trio. It was a good time. And then the moon cried monsters. But anyway. So yeah, we have the little conversation about like, just, what I just said, basically. Personal identity and like, it doesn't matter what I was made to do, blah, blah, blah. It all basically reflects like Vivi's whole situation. It's a rehashing of that, but I'm fine with there being two concurrent stories that mimic each other, because then they coalesce into this nice little ending where these two groups of characters are sort of living together. It would have been nice to have any kind of lead up to it, but there we are. And then the game happened. Final Fantasy VIII is apparently a game. Yeah, so we decide to go and do that. Now, before we do that, there is something I should probably do. A side quest. Or not a side quest. There's a cave outside of Trino. And by doing this, I'm definitely going to push this draw-through into having 3 more streams, not 2, but I feel like I should mention this because it brings together 2 things that are quite important. Well, quite important to us anyway. Don't think they deserve it, but it's a cute idea. Do you remember when we had a really cool chase scene with skyships and we had to make it through 2 gates that were closing and the ship exploded? Yeah, that was fun. They, as in I don't think the game developers deserve this moment. Yeah, so we go into a cave. There's a cave. We can go into there earlier, but nothing particularly remarkable happens. But yeah, just as we're going round, we're clearing up loose ends, doing side quests, whatever. This is the last chance before the big push. And we go into a cave and we find sort of a bunch of empty shelves on the walls, and there's like a door leading out to a clock and like a fishing rod over a balcony over the ocean. It's a chill little place, but there's no one here. And there's a bunch of like empty dishes everywhere. Relatively appropriate music happening right now. Oh yeah, I forgot about it. Jaws is still here, looking over everything we do and reacting appropriately, I think. It's a little dwelling inside the cave. It's quite a nice, chill, cozy little place, but it's clearly not been lived in for a while. And Simeon walks in and is like, "Wow, this place is a dump." And then Quimbsh walks in. Reason number 1 this is important is because it involves Quimbsh. Yeah, I thought we could do with a respite from the plot by getting Quimbsh involved in something. Because they run in and go, "Oh my god!" And the pile of empty plates transforms itself into a huge banquet of delicious, succulent food and, you know, tiers of cakes and all these sorts of things. And Quimbsh just goes to town, eats everything as much as possible, having a wonderful time with this huge feast that's just suddenly appeared. Looks incredible. It's literally glistening in the game. Literally sparkles at how amazing it is. Then there's a massive wedge of cheese. All sorts of things. Food everywhere. And Quimbsh is just having the time of their life. Cheese! Exactly. Yeah, try and find some screen caps. It's a good looking scene. Yeah, and Quimbsh is running around eating all the stuff and so on and so forth. And then we just sort of cut back at the end of this sort of happening. And it transpires that there isn't anything there. It is still very much just a stack of empty plates. And Simeon is looking at Quimbsh and going, what are you doing? And Quimbsh is like, "Oh, it was the best meal ever. I'm stuffed. It was amazing." Simeon's like, you're strange, you know that. But then, appearing in the corner, I'm going to do this scene all in the room. Some of it takes place in the balcony, but I'm not drawing it. Appears another of the Q clan. Got a strange hat. And basically explains, hey, you got it. You saw the wonderful banquet. And you ate it, and it was great, wasn't it? It's wonderful. Oh yeah, the Kira is sharing images of the background in the Discord. I'll stick them up when they're there. Because I don't have time or patience to want to do more. Ah, here we go. So, before and after. Massive barrel of wine in a huge glass. Don't remember that. Piles of food and cakes and sushi and all the big fish. Look at the big fish. Quimbsh had a great time. All for Quimbsh, literally all for Quimbsh. But yeah, so this other Q arrives. I believe they had a name. Am I gonna go back and search? Let's go back and search for it. It was a long time ago. Literally spot on. This is first try. Pretty pleased with that. Quail. The name is Quail. Not the hat then. But yes, Quail. And true to their word, just as we start interacting with Quail, Quatatui arrives, Quimbsh's old mentor. And goes, "No! Quimbsh, don't you listen to that bugger. He's a fool. He abandoned us." So this was the person that Quatatui was like, you know, I've never heard of him, I hate him. Fight for our amusement, exactly. There's a bit of a conflict going on here. Quatatui's like, he just tricked you into thinking you ate food. But Quail's like, yes, but you did eat it. You tasted it, and it tasted amazing, and you were satisfied. You learned that food, and by extension, the exploration of the world can be enhanced by imagination. That you can imagine food better than you can get at any given time. And it's at this point Vivi pops in. Remember Vivi's here? And Vivi is quite surprised to see Quail here, because they're meant to be dead. Because this is Vivi's grandpa. Adoptive, obviously, but the person who raised Vivi. He's like, Grandpa, what are you doing here? I thought you were dead. And Quail's like, this here, young little Vivi. Vivi was the one who taught me the ways of imagination. Because when I found Vivi just floating in the river or whatever it was, when I fished them up from the ocean, you know, I was quite prepared to just wait until they got big and fat and ate them, as you do with just random animals you fish up. But as I raised Vivi, I saw them come into this world and develop a personality of their own, and I learned the value of life and imagination and all that sort of stuff. And this is how I found my path of enlightenment, and this is why I left the tribe, because the tribe focused entirely on the traditions of the gourmand, the ways of the gourmand, and completely ignores any kind of creative application towards the world of food and so on and so forth. This is a very food-centric culture, so when I say food, just substitute any important activity. He learned the value of Master Baby Vivi. Exactly. Even as a baby, Vivi was teaching people about life. It was like I had to leave the tribe in the way of the gourmand because they would not listen. You would not listen to the wonders that is using your imagination, and you cannot use your imagination without exploring the world and seeing the world and being able to experience new experiences and thus imagine things beyond that. And Master Baby Vivi taught me the power of this. Even though I was planning to eat him. But he didn't, that's the point. You can actually find a thing on the wall that's like little height chart. Like 5 months. Too small to eat. Yeah, so we get a little moment of like Quatatui being like told off for being too rigid with their perspective on food, and Quimbsh being celebrated for their exploring the world and embracing their imagination in a way that Quatatui couldn't. And Vivi just getting one last chance to see Quail, who is a ghost, and who literally flies up into the ceiling and disappears. But Vivi gets to see him one last time and say goodbye. That's kind of nice. Yeah, so there's just a little side quest where Quimbsh and Vivi get a little closure on their sort of stories. Kind of. Quimbsh and Baby Vivi are officially siblings. Yay! And Quatatui never worked again. The end. Bring them back down there because I don't want to lose the drawing. Cool, that was just an aside. I thought I'd get that in there. Also, I guess while I'm here, I will draw the optional super boss of the game. There you go. Ball. This is Ozma. Actually, I can get a slightly better one. Hang on. Close enough. But a tiny seal underneath. Done. So the optional super boss of the game is Ozma. It is a swirling ball of gas. The top half and the bottom half swivel independently. And it's a bugger. It's an absolute bugger. Yeah. But there's optional super bosses in these games. I never beat them anyway. I'm terrible. So there you go. There's Ozma. I think named after something to do with extraterrestrials. Ozma and the optional super boss are the best seal that ever existed. I think Gilgamesh is an optional boss too. Is he? I didn't know that. I know he's in the game, and I know he has a quest, but I didn't know. We have technically met him. I didn't know he was a boss. Maybe. I mean, I don't think I've ever done the quest, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, he's in the game. Yeah, Gilgamesh is in the game. Gilgamesh is a good friend. He left the iron on. But anyway, so that's that done. Ignore you. No, I'm not going to ignore Kiro. Don't you talk about my friend like that. How dare you? Okay, so optional quests aside. We've done those, we've met the super boss, we have found closure to Quimbsh and baby Vivi, who are now siblings. And... Oh, we could do this, right? We could do this. They're now siblings, which officially nullifies their fake marriage. So they're definitely not married, and they're siblings now. Hooray! Everything's good. It all works out. It's all good. Yeah, if you missed part of the story, they did get married, but purely for administrative reasons, and it clearly was not valid. So, right. So we have decided now we're going to go see what's going on with the tree, and sort out this whole fog situation. Try and work out what's going on with Mr. Swan, and see if we can stop him. Maybe somehow he's destroyed one planet. Let's hope he doesn't destroy another. Went a bit Star Wars there. That was my original thought, was hang on, siblings and married. Oh dear, that's not good. Wait, hang on, we can use this to get rid of the marriage, which we didn't want. It's the opposite of Star Wars. But yes, okay, so we go to the cauliflower tree and we see what's up. Exciting music happens. Where is the cauliflower tree? It's before that, wasn't it? Ah, there it is. So, cauliflower tree. It's there, and it's covered in a thick blanket of fog. Which is actually bright white, but whatever. Difficult to do that in this particular way. Roots around the tree, they're all over the world now. I forgot about that, yeah. So, okay, so the roots are also going wild. This tree is having a time. Oh, it blocks off some locations, doesn't it? Yeah, there we are. That is purely mechanical. That happens in previous games. Final Fantasy VIII. You go back to the world after going to, was it Copyright's castle? And some areas are just covered in a force field now. So this makes more sense than the way that game did it. Was it Copyright? It was TM, Copyright, someone else. All rights reserved. I don't know. Yeah. So there are areas that are inaccessible, but that's all optional. It's not. Hopefully you did things before you went to TM, STPP, and copyright. What was STPP? As in stop? Probably stood for something. No one knows. Most of the memories of that game have disappeared. Which I guess makes sense given the ending. But yes, so we go to this place, and above that, and quite literally above that, is an orb. That's more like... There's a weird, like, purple black holy orb sort of thing going on above it. So that ain't good. The orphanage of plot convenience and monsters on the moon took all your brain cells away. Yeah, we don't really have, like... I guess we have, like, the planet of plot contrivance in this game, if you've got an equivalent. Took almost all of our brain cells away, yeah. Big purpley orb, or reddish, or both. I remember purple. But then again, I would, wouldn't I? So yes, there's this big orb. And we're like... Well, that looks pretty bad. And hint, hint, gameplay hint, 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 if we go towards that thing, we're probably not coming back. So this is very much like the last bit of the game. And you do all your bits and bobs, and you go and you say hello to Quail and say goodbye to Quail, and Quimbsh and Vivi have a sibling hug, and we decide, okay, cool, it's time. We gotta sort this out. Like the planet of plot contrivance. Now I'm wondering... So yeah, we approach this on an airship. On our Invincible, now that we have it. And yeah, we fly towards it. And... whatever it is, do it. So yeah, we fly towards it, and before we can get to it, there's a big burst of energy, and some things come flying out. More geese, indeed. Yeah, like thousands. Thousands and thousands of stretched out geese come flying out of this thing. Trying to work out the best way to do this. I think that's as good as it's gonna get. But yeah, they just honk. The biggest cacophony of honks you can possibly imagine. Come flying out of this thing.
Honk.
Honk indeed. Why this happens, never really explained, but it does. And
Honk.
honk indeed. I do like the idea that that carries on until the end of the stream. But yeah. So the honkening occurs, and we can't deal with this. We can't deal with this many honks.
Honk.
See, it's overwhelming. We don't have any firepower. We could attack one with a stick or knives or whatever.
Honk, 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 honk.
It's just the worst. It's too many. It's almost as if we probably shouldn't have gone, let's not get help. It's almost as if Zorld and Knife's idea was a terrible one. Real bad.
Honk, 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 honk.
I know. And we're overwhelmed by the sheer honkeningness of this entire endeavor. I don't know why I'm trying to get this straight. The wallpaper of geese. However, as we're getting buffeted around by honks.
Honk, 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 quack, honk, honk.
There's at least one duck gets caught up in the melee whole thing. We are easily amused. It was a dumb plan not to involve anyone else at the end of the planet and genocide by geese. I know, it was. Luckily, no one else listened. Because they just turn up anyway. So we cut to, let me see if I can steal some stuff elsewhere again. After them, or before them, I mean. I think it was before that. I mean, I can use that. That's not what I was looking for. Oh, that's as much as I drew of that airship, okay. I'll build it out from something else then. There's a lot going on here. So yes, we cut to the deck of the Girl Boss 1, if you recall. The Girl Boss 1 or the Girl Boss 2? No, the Quimbsh one. Was this the Quimbsh one or the Girl Boss 1? I can't remember. One of those two, anyway. And we find... March to the rescue, indeed. March once again helming the rescue operation. Oh, good timing. Might have been the Quimbsh one, I think? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, and the rest of the Tantalus crew. Yeah, definitely not Fly, he's dead, but Queen Girlboss, she's here. Whatever she looked like, I'll just copy paste her because I can't remember what she looks like. So she's here sort of helming this situation. You know, she's quite fond of the old Tantalus crew. They're helpful, they're useful. Good chaps. Love to see her winning. She's in control now. Boom. Queen Girlboss. Yeah, Fly's not here. He got eaten. It's fine. So yeah, they're flying in, and they've got guns and cannons on other airships. The entire fleet of Lindblom has come along to help shoot down all of these dragons. How they knew this was happening, I don't know, but they just assumed this would be helpful. Yeah. The M in MVP stands for March. So yeah, but they're not alone either. Let me see. I'm scrolling back again. Hey, March. There's a face. There's another tree. That one got blown up. As much as I drove that ship. We have another ship. The Red Rose, if you recall, the ship that was originally used by Queen Helga. Still in operation, didn't get blown up by Bahamut. Knew that face was coming. And is now being helmed by Jessie. Given that she was basically left in charge of the kingdom when Zerolda ran away. Paused for a moment and thought, here comes the Helga face. Why do you guys know me? Stop knowing me. Too predictable.
Get known, idiot.
So yeah, she's here too, and she's manning up the entire Alexandrian military. I don't know if anyone's on this ship other than her, but she's here. Oh, the Knights of Pluto were with her. Oh, yeah, they are. Of course they are. Yes, I'm an idiot. I'm a fool. There they are. And the rest of them are inside. Pulling all the levers and such. Yeah, at least a couple of them are on here. I remember there's a thing in the later cutscene. She's here and she's filling the moment. She lost an arm, apparently. So yeah, they've got all their cannons blasting at the geese and smashing them out of the sky, and it's all a big fun time. Do you remember their names? Not really. Let's see. There was Beatrix. I remember that. Socks. Sock, Beatrix, Quaxley, yes. Nibbins, Sock and Nibbins. They were the first two. Beatrix, Quaxley. Well, we got 4. Not too bad. James, technically, is the commander of them. Something with Rocky? Was Rocky the one who was running up the stairs? That makes sense. What was the bin one? Bin boy, trash boy. Trying to remember the bin one, yeah. Meanwhile. You failed, you boys! Guy eating food and the one running. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what they're called. Cannonball Clark? Did we get that one? Yeah, Cannonball Clark. I do have a drawing with all their names, but this is not as fun as remembering them. Oh, sorry, hang on, I failed my numbering system as well. Oh. Yeah, I can't remember. Should I find the picture, or should we, should we continue to try and remember? Zoc, Nibbins, Cannibal Clark, Beatrix, Quaxley, Rocky. Hope repeating it will help. Cannibal Clark. Who was the angry one? I think that's the other one we're missing. There was the food one and the one who was like, I'm chilling out by the river, and then you say the princess is missing. It's like, oh my god! Sergeant something? Colonel Mustard, that's the food one. Oh, Bin, was it just called Bin? Just Bin. That makes sense, yeah. So we did get that. Colonel Mustard was really the only one we didn't get. Cool, there we go. We got them all. Anyway, meanwhile, we fight a dragon. Perhaps unsurprisingly, in a horde of dragons, we fight one of them. It's tougher than the previous one, but it is basically just a reskin of the fight. I don't know why we needed more bosses, but there we are. And it's also in like a really psychedelic background. Hang on, let me... I remember the background being really weird. So the silver dragon was the earlier one. What's this one? Yep. Doc, Nibbins, Cannibal Clark, Colonel Mustard, Beatrix, Quaxley, Bin, and Rocky. Cool. Boys! Nova Dragon, that's what this one's called. Oh, in the Japanese version, his name is Shinryu. Oh, I didn't know that. This is Shinryu. Classic recurring boss in the Final Fantasy series. Not quite as powerful as it was in FF5, but you know. Also looks a bit more like a goose. But yeah, can I do? Is there a? But yeah, for some reason the boss fight looks like that. Why? I don't know. Hope you like pink. You're fighting it in the weird wibbly wobbly world. You could have been fighting it on like the deck of the Invincible or something, but whatever. Yeah, it just happens at the end of the cutscene. You just fly through all of these monsters, the cannons start raging from all the people who come to help you, and then a fight starts. You would lose. It's a tough fight, as I recall. Not the easiest thing in the world. Well, we've done 5 out of 13 bosses. Let me count. Let me recount. Make sure I got that count right. No, that is the right count. We have 8 more to go. One of them's optional, to be fair, but again, I'm gonna bundle that in with your choice of, hey, which one of these do you want to be the final boss? Fun! So much fun! It is basically a boss rush at this point. There is some plot that is mentioned here, but... Thank you, Hazel. There is some plot that's mentioned between the bosses, but generally speaking, there are 8 bosses and then there's an epilogue. But I guess this is a good place to stop because we have now entered into whatever the last place is. The weird final dungeon that is required for every Final Fantasy game. The last dungeon has to be real weird. So yeah, probably gonna be either a long stream next time or 2 more streams to go. We might be able to do it in a long stream. Yeah, frickin' Frack's song just came on. Chaos! Do you remember when frickin' Frack were a thing? Good times. But yeah, that I think is a good place to stop. Because we've just swung an airship headfirst into an orb and killed a goose dragon while we were in it. It's going fine. Hope you're liking the end of the game. It's not going to get more sensible from here on. To be fair, the epilogues... Well, after the first part, the epilogue's sensible. The first part, though, is actually very silly, and I'm a fan. I felt that sigh in your soul. The very first part of the epilogue.
Sigh.
The very first part of the epilogue has like a wonderful like action sequence, which has so much effort put into it and is so like cool and silly and funny, and you're like, why is this at the end of the game? This could have happened halfway through. Why does it happen there? But anyway, did actually make me laugh because I'd forgotten all about it. But yeah. Oh wow, concept art for Shinryu is pretty cool. I'm gonna share that. And for those not in the Discord, there you go. Nice concept art for the final goose. That is the last of those dragons we'll be fighting. So, last goose. The geese are done. The honkening has ended, presumably. I mean, we went headfirst into an orb. Maybe there's a lot more honkening happening with March et al. But March and Jesse to the rescue. Sad honk. But yeah, I hope you had a nice time. Hope you enjoyed. We're getting there. We're getting to the end. This Drawthrough will 100% be done by the end of the year. I'm hoping 1 or 2 streams. Maybe like 1.5, and then we can do like a kind of recap. Chuck around some ideas for a Fool's AU sort of thing. It was a time and will continue to be a time. Yes. I'm trying to think if there's anything I missed in this particular stream. There are a bunch of times when I was playing it when I was like, oh, I should mention that. And then forgot about it, because I'm not allowed to write things down. More times will be had, exactly. And then we'll start thinking about what to do next. Start discussing ideas as to how that's going to work. So, yeah. Thanks for the good stream. I hope you all had a lovely time. Hope it was a chill, silly session of chats and nonsense. I'll be back tomorrow morning with finishing off Cuthbert and then starting something else, or maybe finishing off other things that I've started and haven't finished, like Pero and Mira's house and such. Or maybe I'll start the November Malender, because
Behuin and Kugnath, Fanu Naemna, Bagliz Kafungin, Kathavahel, Kulth Cthulhu Kafungni, Ia Rigazengaro, Ia Hydra.
It's Vagliz, that's the one I forgot. We were talking about this earlier. It's like, can't remember the middle bit. Vagliz. It was good fun before bed, yeah. And then after bed it was awful. Sorry, not sorry. It's always a pleasure to hear that. We still haven't heard the new one, actually. But yeah. Yes, I'll be back tomorrow morning with Doodles.
It's sealed up. I can't get through.
You can't get through. Good try. Or maybe I'll work on the music. So maybe I'll work on the art for this music, which is a project I started and didn't finish. But yeah. But then we'll be back Saturday morning with music. Maybe doing some sort of music similar to that in Ghost Trick, because it's fun. And Officers Concave and Convex deserve music. I can't remember their actual names, but Bailey? Officer Bailey, I think. And Shrimp. Bailey and Shrimp, I think they were what we called them. Yeah, Officer Bailey and Officer Shrimp's theme. They deserve a theme. So I'm going to listen to what part of the soundtrack we've got up to and try and ignore the titles of subsequent tracks. And get some ideas of like, okay, what can their feel be, you know? I want to do stuff with simple synths and funky instruments like clavs and electric pianos and lo-fi drums and such. Oh, you did look up the OSD last night? And you think it's okay? I'll just try not to pay too much attention. It'll be fine. I do still have suspicions as to where the story's going to go, but frankly, I don't expect those suspicions to survive another stream, because who knows what's going to happen in that game. But yeah, we're going to do some music like that. And then on Saturday, something or other. I don't know. Saturday evening, a game with friends. What'll it be? Something. We really must plan things. And then Sunday, something. I should take it upon myself to do this, given that it is my stream, technically. I don't know, I just don't like telling friends what to do. But also, I have very strict rules for the next Drawthrough that you're all going to be involved. Games with friends and drawings with friends, that's the plan, exactly. Jeeb's got it. Jeeb knows. Speaking of Jeeb, also tomorrow evening is the Jeeb and Nether's Day. Jeeb stream. Exciting times. I don't know if we're going to be doing more chill Borderlands 3 or if we're going to go back to pre-sequel or something else. Who knows? Maybe Jeeb doing a drawing of their new sons. You don't know. We'll find out. No, it fits the theme, doesn't it? Not a clue. We'll find out. There will be a Jeeb stream, and that's what's important. Well, it's not what's important, obviously. If Jeeb doesn't want to do a stream, then that's also important. But whatever. Anywho, want to finish the pre-sequel, but we'll see if you can handle the noise tomorrow. Yeah, hopefully, it was just the difference between pre-sequel and Borderlands 3 in terms of background noise, even just general sound design. It's quite a contrast. Yeah, whatever you feel up to, that's the thing. Unlike me, I have a strict schedule, and if I'm in a terrible mood, it doesn't matter. Gotta do it. Force myself to. I also need to update that slide because it still says the Around the Doodle in 80 Days video, and that was made in January. No, not January, March, because I started drawing in January. I need to stop talking now. If it helps, think you're pretty close to the end, especially if you skip side quests. But the side quests are so fun. Jeeb's having a grand old time with side quests in that game. He's fine. But yes, I hope you had a lovely time, as I've said approximately 6 or 7 times at the end of this stream. And I will be back at the aforementioned, so that's the word I'm looking for, the aforementioned times. I'm gonna go now and have sleep. Look after yourselves, everybody. Goodbye.